All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Finding Wendy podcast. So today we have an incredible, important topic for anyone who has undergone bariatric surgery or seeking to maintain their weight loss journey. So today we're actually joined by Alison Pizanie. Did I say it right?
You did, Pizanie, yes.
Pizanie. Okay, so it sounds Italian. Is it Italian?
It's actually French,
Oh,
Pizanie.
French. Oh, Pizanie. So, like my last name's French as well, Limberti. There we go. Another thing in common. Woohoo!
Yes.
So, Alison is the author of this great book called The Regain Remedy. And it dives into using intermittent fasting to achieve permanent weight loss after bariatric surgery. And thank you so much, Alison, for being here today. So, let's talk first about the book. So the Regain Remedy is a comprehensive guide for individuals who have undergone bariatric surgery and are facing the challenge of weight regain. The book introduces intermittent fasting as a powerful and sustainable strategy to achieve permanent weight loss and regain control over your health. So, drawing from specific research, personal experiences, and practical advice, Alison outlines a step-by-step approach in incorporating intermittent fasting into post-surgery lifestyle. So, the book also covers unique challenges bariatric patients face, including dealing with hunger, cravings, and emotional eating. She also emphasizes the importance of mindset, accountability, and developing long-term habits that support healthy living. So in this book, readers will find tips on managing portion sizes, overcoming weight plateaus, and maintaining motivation for long-term success. With practical strategies and encouragement, the book offers a holistic solution for achieving lasting weight loss and overall wellness after bariatric surgery. So that was a mouthful. So hello, Alison. Welcome to Toronto.
Hi, Wendy. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, first of all, where are you in the world?
I am in New Jersey, Medford, New Jersey.
Okay, so you're about an 8 to 10 hour drive from here.
Yes.
So, and we're experiencing the same weather too. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Toronto. And
gorgeous.
It's about, I'd say about 75 degrees, which is fine, or in Celsius here. We're metric here in Canada, although we do talk about pounds.
Okay.
It's about 20 degrees. So I'm super excited you're here and thrilled to be talking to you about this wonderful book, The Regain Remedy. Using intermittent fasting to achieve permanent weight loss after bariatric surgery. So let's start by getting to know you a little better, and please tell us about your journey and what inspired you to write The Regain Remedy.
Okay, well, obviously, I couldn't have written the book if I didn't go through all of this myself. I am an elementary education teacher for 27 years. I have a degree in psychology and a master's in teaching and learning. So I am not a doctor, but I am passionate about teaching others about what I discovered with intermittent fasting after bariatric surgery. The inspiration for the book came when I was experiencing regain after my surgery, and I reached out to my bariatric surgeon and I asked them, what am I going to do? I'm gaining my weight back. Come to find out that through research, which you can easily Google yourself, 75% of post-bariatric patients regain weight within 6 years, significant weight. So when I reached out to my surgeon, yes, right? When I reached out to my surgeon, these were the options. Liquid diet, very expensive liquid diet. Medication, Wegovy, Ozempic, so forth. More surgery, revisional surgery. That was unacceptable to me. I did not want to do any of those. So I was very frustrated, and I was looking for another way. And lo and behold, I found intermittent fasting.
Yeah. And is that when you found Jill Stevens' book?
That's when I found Gin Stevens. So
Gin. I said it again. I did it again. I did it before. I said
that's okay.
Jill.
I'm just gonna
Gin.
I'm just gonna say it so that your listeners have it. Yeah, let's show her book.
There it is.
The book that saved my life. Mm-hmm.
This book. You start with this book.
You start with that book
You
because it gives
start
you
with
an
this book, and then
well,
you go to this book.
if you've
And
had surgery, start with my book. My
actually,
book is similar,
you're actually right. I'm so sorry. I'm
right?
so sorry.
That's okay. No, because Jin's book, Delay Don't Deny, is similar to this, but I've
Yes.
had bariatric surgery, so I know
Yes.
where those people are coming from. But my wife and I read in bed at night, and I didn't know she was reading Delay Don't Deny. I was involved in my own book. And when she was done, she said, "You might want to read this. You know, this was
Ah.
like fascinating." She thought it was interesting. And the science behind it, it like grabs you, right? So she was like, "Read this." And I turned to the back cover and it said intermittent fasting, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I'm not going to do intermittent fasting. I'm not starving myself. I've been there, done that. I'm done with diets. And she said, no, just give it a try. It's a short
Yeah.
read. So I gave it a read. I was done within a week and whoa, my mind was blown.
Yeah, exactly the effect that I had when I read it, because I read it after Dr. Fung's book. So I started a little bit further back in the intermittent fasting research journey, as I posted on my other video about how many books I've read in the last month. This is a person with dyslexia.
That's
That's
amazing.
that's absolutely incredible for me.
Yes.
It's a breakthrough for me, and but anyway, so if we talk about your bariatric surgery just briefly, you had VSG, vertical sleeve gastrectomy. So when did you have that surgery? What was your highest weight, and when was it? And then how much weight did you regain to start IFing, is the lingo
Yeah.
in the intermittent fasting? That's acronym. It's the world of acronyms, IFing.
Tons of acronyms. Okay, let me give you a little bit of a timeline real quick. First of all, I've had like a lifetime issue with being overweight and being obese. Definitely at the end, I was up to 245 pounds. I'm 5'3", so I was morbidly obese at 245 at my wit's end, had tried every diet, thought it was my fault. The negative self-talk and the depression that comes with being overweight is just soul crushing, right? So I needed to do something. Fellow teachers in my school building were having VSG, and I was like, I can totally do that. So I signed up in June of 2016. It took me a little over a year to lose about 90 pounds. Now, I feel I never quite made it to goal. My goal personally was 145. So I started at 245. I wanted to hit that 100-pound mark. I am only 5'3" though. So really, I could probably be in the 120s. Who knows? We'll see where my body settles. But I did 3 years after surgery in 2019, I started gaining weight. And it wasn't like happening super fast, but fast enough that it got my attention. Thankfully, I only gained about 20 pounds because that was 2019. My wife handed me a copy of the book in January 2020. Okay, she saved me right before the pandemic. I knew about fasting and I did not have
You're very
any.
lucky, because a lot
I
of
lost
people
during
during the
COVID.
pandemic, I call it the COVID kilos, and
Mhm.
that there are, I'd say, 80% of North American population gained weight during the pandemic because there was nothing else to do but sit on your couch, watch Schitt's Creek, and our great Canadian comedical
Yes, yes.
product that
Yeah, good one.
overwhelmed the Grammys, which is on tomorrow night, and they're co-hosting it, which is great. Eugene Levy just lives up the street from me,
Nice.
and his son. They just live just up the street on Yonge Street, and pandemic, the COVID kilos. So you were very lucky. I started gaining weight during the pandemic. So you did not. You got the book just before the pandemic. Sorry, I interrupted you. So go on, go
No,
on,
that's
go on.
okay. No, so I discovered Jin's book. At the time, she had not written Fast Feast Repeat yet, so I'm just going on Delay Don't Deny. Skimmed the obesity code a little bit, but wasn't mentally ready for that science yet. And I started right away, and lo and behold, I stopped gaining. I went on probably the next 6 months or so to lose 10 pounds. Now, I was about 47 at the time, so definitely like perimenopausal, probably some additional hormonal stuff going on. So weight loss was slow for me.
Yeah.
We call
So what
ourselves
was the
turtles.
weight that you started at again? Can you repeat that? So you started intermittent fasting at what weight?
Okay, so I started at about 170
170.
because
Okay.
I lost
Yeah.
90, gained back 20.
Yeah.
So I was at about 170 at this point.
Yeah,
So my IF journey started in 2020. I had a slow start. I had trouble trusting the process of intermittent fasting because every other diet failed me in the past. And IF is not a diet. It's
no, it's
a
a
big
lifestyle.
misconception that we can talk about later. Yes, it is a lifestyle change, but I didn't know that going into it. I didn't know that it was, I thought it was just going to be the quick fix like any other fad diet. Or let's face it, our surgery for me was a quick fix, right? I had the surgery. Within a year, I'm down 90 pounds.
We all thought it was the magic
Relatively.
pill. We in no way was I prepared, because at the beginning of, I think it was probably the same for you when I had the bariatric surgery or got signed up for bariatric surgery. There was a year's process
Yes,
during before you even actually have the bariatric surgery, where you're talking to nutritionists, you're talking to RNs, you're talking to all sorts of people about what's going to happen when you have the bariatric surgery and what happens afterwards. And that little piece of information about 75% of the people who have a bariatric surgery experience regain was sort of covered underneath. It was really not highlighted. And that was like, you lied. You lied to us, because it's not the magic pill. You still have to continue watching what you eat after that 2-year honeymoon period, because of your metabolic rate changes. And what happens is that you can start eating larger portions. And by eating larger portions, you're starting to gain weight.
exactly.
So that brings me to a really important thing about debunking the common myths surrounding intermittent fasting. So in my own experience, just recently in the last 3 weeks, when I talk to people that I'm telling them that I'm now incorporating intermittent fasting into my lifestyle, their initial reaction is often, "Oh, that can't be healthy." So, we know it's not true. You and I now see, and so many thousands of others who are practicing intermittent fasting but are not, shouting it from the rooftops. And I just wanted to point out to people, which is a really, really important point. Intermittent fasting is not good for the food industry. For the multi-trillion-dollar food industry, they cannot make any money off anybody who doesn't eat. If you don't eat, how do you make money on that? You can't. So it's not like Ozempic, you can make lots of money. Wegovy, you can make lots of money. That's the big thing right now. But guess what? When you stop taking Ozempic and stop taking Wegovy at $1,000 a week, your weight will come back on. It's not a permanent fix either, like so
It is
many of the
not.
other
And
some
don't
of the
forget
other
the big piece
diets.
with those medications. Those medications, they're already finding that there is a huge amount of muscle tissue loss.
Yeah.
Okay, so not
Uh-huh.
only are they damaging their metabolism, going to have regain just because of that fact, now they have no lean muscle tissue on their body to assist in their metabolic rate at all. So they're going to be really in a tough position. I do feel sorry for them. And the FDA has now approved new medications to combat that muscle loss. So now they're going to be making you take two medications because they know how dangerous it is. And it's just completely unacceptable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good. So, I'm in reading your book, and I've been highlighting and bookmarking all the books that I've been reading. And in your book, you say, quote, I'm just going to read a part
Sure.
from the book that I highlighted here about intermittent fasting and circulating insulin. When you eat, your body breaks down food into glucose, which enters the bloodstream. Insulin then helps move the glucose from our blood into cells. When glucose enters our cells, it is either used as fuel for energy right away or stored for later use. You read that correctly. Insulin is a fat storage hormone. Your body cannot burn stored fat when circulating insulin levels are high. So when you eat in a compressed eating window or pattern of time, the amount of insulin your pancreas secretes decreases. So over time, the body is no longer in fat storage mode when circulating insulin is reduced. So the insulin as a hormone is the key to fasting. So you have the calories in, calories out, but this concept of the fact that we are insulin resistant, and that's why we are not burning fat. I use the imagery when I talk to people about it and try to explain it in layman terms. I say, think about a bear. A bear is eating and eating and eating all summer long, and then he goes to hibernate in the winter, and his body continues burning the fat that's stored in his body. So let's talk a little bit about that, about debunking fasting, and just get to the scientific geeky thing about it.
Yeah. So it is all about insulin, and it's all about that level circulating in your body. And when you are taught, especially with bariatric surgery, those classes and things that we attend, you're really encouraged to eat a small amount all day long. So you are constantly having some glucose being pushed out. You're constantly having an insulin response. Therefore, you're having circulating insulin in your bloodstream all of the time. When you shrink your eating window and you give your body a metabolic rest, your insulin levels come down, and you teach your body how to burn fat for energy. You're burning stored fat for energy. It's not taking energy from the food that you're eating. And while I haven't read the obesity code carefully, I do watch Dr. Jason Fung's videos, and he has another analogy that helps you understand this if you're not like a sciencey person. But many, many people in North America have a refrigerator and freezer in their kitchen. And like myself, we have a deep chest freezer in the garage. Okay. When I'm eating during the day, I'm going to my kitchen refrigerator and I'm taking out, my veggies, my eggs, whatever, my cheese, and I'm taking that energy and I'm utilizing it right away. Whatever I don't use, I'm storing for later. If I don't have access because I'm not eating, I'm shrinking my eating window, I'm fasting for a period of time. Everybody fasts overnight while they're sleeping. During that time, you don't wither away to nothing. You don't die in your sleep, right? Your body is a very smart machine.
Right.
So when your insulin levels come down, you are now going down into your deep stored fat and you're using that for fuel. And that's like it takes a bit of effort. You might have to remind yourself, or you're teaching your body, go to the deep freezer in the garage, go take the walk, go look. Nobody really wants to go down deep into the dark steps of their basement or wherever their deep chest freezer is. But you can slowly teach your body to do that every single day. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks. It's really getting into ketosis, or we call it fat adaptation, because we don't want to be in ketosis all the time. And, we can talk about that at a later date. But it really is all about these hormonal levels. And this is why regain is not your fault. It has to do with
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
No.
And that's what's so freeing about intermittent fasting.
And yeah, go ahead. That's so freeing. I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, it is so freeing. And your body, remember, when you're not practicing intermittent fasting and you do have to fast for, say, a blood test or a medical procedure, it feels hard. But intermittent fasting is not hard, and I'll tell you why. Once you flip the metabolic switch, once you give yourself 4 to 6 weeks, your body is so well fueled during your fast because it knows how to access your stored fat for fuel. You will have more energy, better sleep, increased human growth hormone. You will reverse any metabolic illnesses that you are currently suffering from. Type 2 diabetes can be reversed. Insulin resistance is reversed. Fatty liver disease is reversed. PCOS is reversed. So it is so exciting that it is a health plan with a side effect of weight loss. That's what Jen says, Jen Stevens, and I believe it.
Well, and there's tons of books and information out there about that, and we're talking about a few books. Now, you also talked about appetite correction, and a book that you read online by Dr. Bert Herring. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, so this is AC, The Power of Appetite Correction. Bert Herring's, this is his second book, I believe. His first book was about his Fast Five diet. His Fast Five diet is an intermittent fasting book, and he thinks that you should eat in a 5 hour window, which we'll get to later because we have had bariatric surgery. So a 5 hour window might be good for you, it might not. We'll talk about that in a second. But intermittent fasting really helps with appetite correction. And appetite correction is basically like a phenomena that happens when you start practicing this lifestyle. You kind of create this hormonal balance in your body, and your metabolism is actually going to be enhanced, repaired, and improved with intermittent fasting. And you're going to be able to listen to your hormonal signals that your body is giving you. So we have satiety hormones and hunger hormones, leptin and ghrelin. And as we're going through our IF journey, we're going to be in touch with those satiety signals more and more. And you're going to be able to know when you are truly hungry and when you're not. It's also going to surprisingly kind of steer you in the correct direction as far as food choices. It's going to be shocking, but instead of reaching for the gallon of ice cream, you're going to be reaching for the avocado and the salad ingredients and maybe a lean steak or something really nutritious, because your body's going to tell you what it needs.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. I mean, lately, because just to let you know, just the listeners let them know, I've been fasting now for 3 weeks. Oh, I'm a rookie. 3 weeks is nothing. Just a baby, just a little baby. Speaking about babies, I just wanted to mention, first of all, no, let me just do the first part first. I do the 19-5. So I fast for 19 hours and I have a 5 hour eating window. It is a small window for somebody who's had bariatric surgery. Recently went to, I had an appointment with my registered dietitian, and she said, "You're not eating enough protein." So, we were all pumped with so much nutritional things during our before having the bariatric surgery. Make sure you take your vitamins, make sure you eat your protein, blah, 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 blah. So I was looking back at some old journals, agendas that I have, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I was eating like 400 or 500 calories a day, and that's it. It's no matter. And I was actually fasting then, because you were eating so little. And I can't remember feeling the urge of hunger during the first, say, 6 months of my bariatric surgery. I wasn't really hungry. And that comes to my second point. And I heard this, I don't know, I guess I heard it in a podcast or I read it somewhere. When we talk about babies, a baby cries when it's hungry, and a baby pushes the bottle away when it doesn't want to eat anymore. I've had enough. Yes. How does a baby know this? Well, that's because they're in touch with their hormones. Their hormones are working secretly inside their body somewhere. Mm-hmm. And they are giving signals to the brain that I'm hungry. And the only way that the baby can communicate this is by crying really, really loud, "I'm hungry," and "I'm hungry." We've lost that whole kind of side of us to know as an obese person. I eat because I love eating, but I don't eat because I'm hungry. So that feeling of feeling hungry or that signal that you're hungry now, you should eat, is gone. It's not there. But
I'm really hungry all the time.
Oh, okay. Well, for me,
but yeah, everyone's experience is different.
And that's the thing. Intermittent fasting is a different experience for everybody. But I'm not really hungry in the morning. Most people are not hungry in the morning. And that's why it's great to intermittent fast overnight and in the morning. Because I'm not, I drink now black coffee. So that's fast, clean fasting, or fasting clean. I don't know which way you say it. But going back to just to mention the baby thing. If you think about babies, they know when they're hungry. And in no way can you overfeed a child. Like even after they're baby, when they're a toddler, 1 or 2 or 3 years old, they push away the plate. Whereas we were, at least I was in my time when I'm growing up, finish your plate. You finish what's on your plate. You're forced to eat, even if you're full, you got to finish your plate. And that whole idea of the hunger signal and the signal to stop when you're full, not when you have to lay down on the couch and recover because you overate.
Right. So intermittent fasting gets us back in touch to those signals that were working so well when we were infants, so well.
Yes, exactly. So let's gonna move on to intermittent fasting and bariatric surgery. So intermittent fasting is actually a hot topic these days. And how does it align with the needs of those who have had bariatric surgery? There's specifics like challenges and benefits for bariatric patients when it comes to fasting.
Definitely things that we need to keep in the forefront of our minds. So everyone going through their bariatric journey kind of were taught some fundamentals like eat your protein first, hydrate, move your body. We need to keep those in mind for sure. And we also need to start with our intermittent fasting journey on the slower side. So we'll get into that in a moment, like how we're
Okay.
going to actually execute this lifestyle. But again, it goes back to that hormonal imbalance. So the challenges are going to be, what is my eating window length? How long should I fast each day? And there's ways to kind of check in with yourself and make sure that you're doing it, properly and healthfully.
So then what makes intermittent fasting effective for permanent weight loss surgery after bariatric surgery? Permanent weight loss after bariatric surgery, and why is it different from traditional dieting approaches? So if you can share the long-time benefits and
Well, it's a lifestyle and it does go back to those hormones. So once your
yeah.
hormones are balanced, once you're in this pattern of eating and you're keeping your insulin low for many hours of the day, your body is able to take fuel from the food that you're eating, the energy from the food that you're eating when you are eating in your eating window. And when you're not, it's taking from your stored fat. Did you know every time you eat, your body is using some for fuel right then and there, but a lot of it gets stored again because you have that insulin present. I mean, that's what it's designed to do. I'm going to use some for now. I'm going to save some for later. So over time, you just get into this rhythm and this balance, and it is super effective at maintaining a healthy weight forever. I mean, I've been doing it for 4 years, but we know,
4 years. Wow, that's amazing. And
yes,
did you
4 years.
ever like switch up and just to let you know, it's not like, okay, I ruined it. Oh my God, I've gone off the diet, or I've gone off my intermittent fasting because I went on an intermittent fasting cruise. I have to hear more about that. There's apparently a cruise out there for people that are IFing. But if you fall off the wagon, what happens? Can you get back on again, or did you screw up the entire process?
There is no falling off the wagon. So
Right.
if you have a day where you had a wedding, a special event, all you had was a longer eating window on that day. You did not fall off. You did not destroy any progress that you made. You just start a very fresh, clean fast the very next day. And there's no guilt, there's no shame. It's just easy as that. You just start again the next day. So some
Yeah.
days you have longer eating windows and some days you have shorter eating windows. Depending on what your health goals are, you of course want to be as consistent as possible, but that's how freeing fasting is and it fits into every lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah. So we can just dive right into those. For those that have had bariatric surgery, what's the best way to start incorporating intermittent fasting into their daily routine?
Okay, so some people are like you, Wendy, where you're jumping into the 24-hour fast, but now
I'm
you've
doing it.
settled into 19.5. I'm doing it. I don't want to hear
I
anything from the
actually I
experts.
didn't start with 19.5. I started with Dr. Fung's 24-hour
Yeah.
diet. Whoa. It was like around hour 20 I was like looking at the clock. It was really really hard. And I then tweaked it and changed it from the 24 hour. 24 hour basically means it's like an up and down day. So you
Mhm.
fast for 24 hours straight and you have a small meal. And then the next day you can have 3 meals. And then you
Yes.
fast again for 24 hours. I couldn't do that. I needed more regular kind of rhythm. So now I fast for 19 hours, and then I have a 5 hour window. So my typical day is that I get up at 7 a.m. I'm still fasting at 7 a.m. and I fast till 1 p.m. And so I normally didn't eat breakfast anyway. So actually, it was the easiest kind of way for me to do it because And we'll talk about clean fasting in a minute, because that's Jen Stevens' whole approach, is that in that fasting window where I've woken up, the most wonderful thing about waking up is that I can actually brush my teeth and taste some peppermint. But during the entire time, and that's why I was drinking black coffee or sparkling water or black tea. So from 7 a.m. till 1 p.m. are those three ingredients. That's it. And
Yes,
then at
and
1 p.m.
Oh, go ahead.
And then at 1 p.m. the window opens. Woohoo! The window's open. And then I have lunch. And then I have a snack. And then I have dinner. And I make sure everything is done by 6 o'clock. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? I don't count calories in that window. There's no calorie counting. Right now, I am tracking with my app. I have this app called My Net Diary. And I talked about a lot about that in my Finding Wendy videos. And I'm tracking my protein at the moment. So I am tracking my food intake during my 5-hour window, so to make sure that I'm eating enough protein. So yesterday, although I didn't have very many calories, I had 722 calories, but I did get 61 grams of protein, 67 grams of carbs, and 26 grams of fat. So anyway, so let's talk about going back to incorporating. You've had bariatric surgery. What's the best way to start incorporating intermittent fasting into your daily routine?
Good. Well, I don't want your listeners to be afraid to start intermittent fasting. And a 5-hour window is quite restrictive. The 24-hour fast is quite restrictive. So please, I hope we didn't lose anyone. I hope everyone's still tuning in, because you do not have to start like that, and you should not start like that. The best way to start is to have a 12-12. So you are sleeping overnight. Hopefully you're getting 6 to 8 hours. You want to stop eating an hour or two before bed, and you want to delay your breakfast a couple of hours in the morning. So if you can fast for 12 hours and then have a 12-hour eating window, start like that for the first week or so. If you are already doing that kind of schedule now, then you would start with like a 14-10. That means you're going to be fasting for 14 hours and you're going to be eating for 10 hours. Basically, you want to work your way up to a 16-8 protocol. Now, we never want to over-restrict if we don't need to. So a 16-8 is a great place to start, and it's a good place to stay for about 4 weeks until you are fat adapted. So you're going to have 16 hours of fasting, and you're going to be creating an 8-hour eating window during the day. So that can be noon to 8 p.m. It can be 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. It depends on your schedule and your lifestyle. I will tell you that the most popular, even though it is hard to delay the creamy coffee, the most popular is an evening eating window or afternoon eating window because of social obligations. People want to eat with their families. They want to go to a work event. They want to have lunch with their coworkers. But you don't have to do that. My sister has not had bariatric surgery. She started fasting after she read my book. So it's good for those that have not had surgery also. She cannot give up her creamy coffee. So she does the 7:30 to 3:30, and she loves it. So we don't want to over-restrict. There are many people with surgery and without that get all of the weight loss that they want, all of the health benefits with that 8-hour window. I would love to have an 8-hour window, but guess what? I gain weight when I have an 8-hour window. Mm-hmm. So everybody is different. And I just want to go back to what your nutritionist said, Wendy, because I think this is important. There is a lot of talk about protein requirements, and nutritionists have calculators and opinions and maybe even some research. But with intermittent fasting, the process of autophagy, which is cellular repair, is ramped up with intermittent fasting, and your body is recycling old junky proteins into new usable proteins. So your body is getting protein from the food that you're eating, but it's also getting it from within your body. So don't be overly concerned with macros and counting. It's just not necessary. Now, I fully support Wendy if that's what she wants to do, but keep in mind, she's really getting more than she's calculating. So no need to worry about protein requirements. If you feel good and you have energy and your muscles feel great, and you're going through your day feeling better than ever, I would not make a protein requirement,
Yeah.
a worrisome thought.
So just a recap for everybody. If you want to start this, start with the 12-12. How long do you think the person should do 12-12? 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
I think that they should move along as they feel comfortable, but I'm going to recommend 1 week at 12-12, 1 week at 14-10. Try to move to that 16-8 as comfortably but quickly as possible so you can get fat adapted. And then you're going to give it a month before you decide, this is too hard for me, because it is going to feel hard in the beginning. But once you flip that switch, you're going to have more energy than you've ever had. So hang in there.
Yeah, I feel very energetic. I'm completely awake, and I feel like it kind of feels like I'm high. It's like, oh,
Yes.
I've got so much energy.
Yes.
And I'm thinking straighter and clearer, and I haven't eaten and I also use I'm an app kind of girl, and I have an app for this as well, so that I've been fasting now for 16 hours. That you can see that here on the screen for those who are looking by video. I use the app called Zero, and I just hit the button at night after dinner, start fast, and then I look at it, and then it also tells you when you go into the fat burning part of your fast, which is after.
That's very individual. So the app is an average, for all humankind, but we know that we're studies of one. So it's an estimate for you, and it's kind of motivational, but it is an estimate. So don't think that you're just in fat burning when your app tells you. You're going to be able to feel it. You're going to be able to maybe taste when you have some ketones. You're going to feel that ketone high almost. Like sometimes, I'm 51, right? So sometimes I get this huge amount of energy, and I want to start running, and that's not me. I'm not like a huge exerciser. You just feel amazing, and you'll know when you're fat burning for sure.
I just wanted to jump back a little bit and talk about autophagy, because for my listeners, I don't know if anybody listens to my other podcast where I interviewed Ralph.
Yes, Fred Ruttman, right?
Yeah, Fred. And he talked about autophagy too. And the interesting thing that really stuck out for me for the bariatric community is that one of the things that autophagy does, and I have to say the word several times because it's a new word for me, so new words, again, my dyslexia, I'm dealing with it. Autophagy also helps with skin repair. So one of the wonderful benefits of intermittent fasting is that had I known about intermittent fasting while I was after my honeymoon period, that it helps with not getting or helping with skin repair, in the sense of women who have had cesarean surgery or stuff like that, have seen a change in their skin, that it's repairing, that people have skin tags that are falling off, but also with extra skin. Like, as a person that used to weigh 450 pounds, I have an incredible amount of loose skin, like these wings. And so the flying nun here. And so can you talk a little bit more about autophagy and about how it helps with not only skin repair, but it also, I know that intermittent fasting is also used for cancer treatment, together with cancer treatment.
Yes, well, I'm definitely not a scientific expert in autophagy, but I have read some studies and I have listened to what the experts are reporting on autophagy. And it really is about our body, again, recycling and reusing proteins, which skin and tissue, is made up of proteins, and it's rejuvenating them. So if you could maybe start intermittent fasting even before you have bariatric surgery, you might have had the possibility, or maybe there's someone out there that is thinking about bariatric surgery, you might be able to lose all of your weight, a significant amount of weight, hundreds of pounds, without any loose skin. But there are amazing changes reported within the body and on the outside of the body. So the loose skin, the skin tags, the moles, things like that, that disappear as you progress through your intermittent fasting journey.
Yeah, it's spectacular when I think about all of the health benefits that I didn't even know about. Not only like the weight loss part, because I've had significant weight loss since I've done intermittent fasting. For 3 weeks, I've lost 13 pounds, but I'm an unusual. Everybody reacts differently. And although I might have lost 13 pounds in 3 weeks, other people may take half a year to lose 10 pounds. But the
And some
key
people
is,
do gain weight. We should mention that. Some people
yeah,
do stay the same or gain weight in the first month, and that is okay. As your journey ramps up, you will actually have greater weight loss later. And I'll
later.
tell you why this happens.
Yeah,
In the beginning, your body is not well fueled during your fast. You have not yet taught your body how to access stored fat for fuel. So, because you're not well fueled during your fast, you're very, very hungry. So, you might be doing some overeating in your eating window, especially if you're still at the 10-hour or 8-hour eating window mark. You might feel that you're just like ravenous and overeating slightly, and you might stay the same. You might even gain a few pounds during the first month. But as soon as you flip that switch, you're going to have consistent fat burning that ramps up over time, and you should be averaging about a half a pound to a pound a week.
right, right. So in the Regain Remedy, you talk about mindset and to achieve permanent weight loss. So the intermittent fasting helps foster a healthy relationship with food post-surgery, right? So the psychological benefits in treating and looking at terms of reducing food obsession and or cravings. How is how do you address that, and how has that affected you in your intermittent fasting journey in the book too?
Yes, in the book I talk about this. Of course, the book is all from my perspective, my journey, what I've learned, but we hear this from thousands of other men and women also. So, intermittent fasting does help foster this healthy relationship because it decreases and it basically takes away all the food noise that we have in our head throughout the day. It takes away all the decision fatigue about what am I going to eat, when am I going to eat, am I a good girl or a bad girl? Did I eat the right thing or the wrong thing? It erases it all. And you shift your mindset from this is a chore, this is something that I have to do, or I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it. It shifts it to a place where you're saying, wow, I am so blessed that I get to do this for my body. I am able to make a choice to give my body a metabolic rest and adopt this lifestyle for my health and my well-being. And it's just a complete mindset shift, from anything else that I've heard of or done in the past.
And you say it so eloquently. I just blurt stuff out, and that's so great about this new yin and yang partnership that we have here. And there's more information coming soon. That the yin and yang couple here. I've been pulling the hairs out of my head trying to find somebody out there that has had bariatric surgery and then has discovered this new incredible thing that can help them with weight regain. So what I did was I reached out through all my Facebook groups that I'm a member of in the bariatric community, and that equals probably about 30 to 40,000 people throughout North America. And I said, is there anybody out there that has tried intermittent fasting after their bariatric surgery? There was crickets for quite a while until somebody DM'd me and said, Wendy, you need to read the book, The Regain Remedy. And guess what? There's also a Facebook group called The Regain Remedy that Alison had started. And so I was like, hallelujah, because I was like, how? I don't want to do all these diets again. I don't want to start counting calories. I don't want to do this diet and that diet. And yes, I know it's not my fault, but as it turns out, I've discovered through this whole journey is that I actually have a scientific mind, and I need to know what the science is behind why this happened, because I didn't do crazy stuff. Yes, I binge eat, and yes, I had been taking Vyvanse for the last 6 months because I reached out to my bariatric team to help. and they're not helping anybody really, unless you really go to them and beg them and plead them. Because I did ask for revisional surgery because I had a VSG as well, and I asked if I can have roux and wine. They said, no, you did too well. You wouldn't, we don't get we wouldn't get the funding to help you with having a revisional surgery. So that was out of the cards. Now, through this Facebook group, which is great, and the Facebook group is called The Regain Remedy. I recommend everybody join that group. Just join, and then share it with all your friends. And Alison's going to be very busy for the next 48 hours, except on the private group. And just say, I don't know, just say, I heard Wendy's podcast, or I heard Finding Wendy, or I heard Alison's podcast. I want to join. I want to know more information. So can you share some stories and some success stories from your Facebook members about intermittent fasting and their feedback? Because it's not just you and me that have done it and have had bariatric surgery, but there are hundreds more that are on your Facebook group, and by this time next year, there'll be thousands of people on your Facebook group. And so just share some really interesting, successful stories from your readers or Facebook members or whatever.
Yes, so we have, I think we're up to a little over 800 members, but it's a very special community. It's very positive, very uplifting. Many members are finding success with intermittent fasting. They're feeling just like Wendy and I. They're so hopeful and optimistic for the first time in a really, really long time about what their health outcomes are going to be in the future. And they're losing weight steadily. They're having more energy. I do have four to five success story examples in my book at the end, which is interesting, and it was important to me to include because some people have had a gastric bypass or the Roux-en-Y. Some people still have their lap band, right? So we wanted to make sure that we included everyone in the bariatric surgery world, and that even though it hasn't been my experience, or my experience is only from that of VSG, it can really work for anyone. And come on into the group, share your experience, learn with us, make sure you read the book. We're not selling anything, Wendy and I. I mean, you do need to know how to do it, right? And it's all here. It's easier if you buy the book. But other than that, intermittent fasting is free. So come join us, make it a community, find your support, post often, encourage others in the group, and community and togetherness makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, and it's also available in Kindle form. And for me, who has dyslexia, I can only read when I hear the text. And I was telling her that I read the Kindle form, but there's no Audible form yet. But guess what? Kindle now comes with a built-in Audible, and I don't know if you can see this, ladies and gentlemen. There's a little start button right down here, and you just click that start button and it reads the text to you. So It's really, really handy that way. It's a very computer like, but at least for anybody that has a reading disability, which I do, you can listen to the text while you're reading it, because that's the way I read books. I have to read it, I have to see the words and hear it at the same time because of my dyslexia. So, it's very, very handy to have both forms. Of course, Gin's books are all available on Audible. And Gin also has podcasts as well if you want more information about Gin's, whole world of clean fasting. Because
her podcast, that's a good thing to bring up. Her Intermittent Fasting Stories podcast also gives you a sense of community. That's something that you're going to listen to on a podcast platform. But it's individual stories, and they are so motivating. I mean, you just pop one of those on, go for a walk, listen. You're going to hear from people that sound just like you. Now, just again, most have not had bariatric surgery. A handful of stories you will hear they have, but they have not. So don't do any of the recommendations like a rip off the Band-Aid where people are going to a 4-hour eating window. That's not for you. But just be careful. Keep in mind that you have had surgery. You're special, unique population. You need to do it carefully.
Yeah, it's a very good point, because I did do it wrong. I did rip off the Band-Aid, and bad Wendy. I just went I just slapped my hand for those who are listening and not watching, because my podcasts are both on YouTube, so you can see us, and it's also on all the platforms, Spotify, Apple, all those sort of things, if you listen to us, because I love this new platform of podcasts. I think it's fabulous.
It is.
And it's just, we have very busy lives. We don't have a lot of time on our hands, and we're trying to keep this podcast down to 1 hour, because people are busy. We're all busy. I'm retired, and I'm more busier now as a retired person than I have ever been. I'm really excited about the research. I'm reading so much right now. I'm reading Atomic Habits, and I'm going to be doing a book review about that, or we can do a book review together. What do you mean we can do a book review together? Well, the reason why I say that is obviously today we didn't cover everything. So, Alison, would you be interested in returning to talk on this podcast on a regular basis to talk and cover more questions and information?
I wouldn't be more excited to do that. It sounds awesome. There is so much to talk about. And more importantly, there are millions of people that need our help, right, Wendy? Millions. That have had bariatric surgery.
Yes, millions. Sorry. I was just going to mention... I was just going to mention that I have friends in Holland. I have a friend in Holland who actually has joined your group and bought the book. And she, because I'm friends, I lived in Amsterdam for 20 years, lots of friends there, not many friends that have had bariatric surgery, but there are millions of people around the world that have had bariatric surgery and are experiencing weight regain. And they're pulling the hairs out of their head. And just for everybody, just to let you know, and for those people that have not had bariatric surgery, the one thing about weight regain after bariatric surgery, you feel so embarrassed. You feel like such a loser. You feel like you want to put your head between your legs, because we've all done the diets. We've done Atkins, we've done Weight Watchers, and we experience weight regain, and it's very common. But here we've had bariatric surgery where you and I have had 80% of our stomach pulled out of our bodies. It's not reversible. It's gone forever. And yet we regained the weight after such an invasive surgery. And you feel so embarrassed, and it's like, oh my God. I'm regaining weight. I feel so embarrassed. I can't talk to anybody about it, because it's like, well, what the heck? What the F? I'm not going to say the bad word on my podcast. What the F? What's going on? So that's why, for me, it's like, okay, this is like one of those Oprah aha moment. You get a car. And it's more, you can lose that regained weight. You can lose that regained weight. That's the Oprah moment.
Yes, and I just need to add in real quick, because I know we're going to be wrapping up. But when I was talking about my journey, I said in 2020 I lost 10 pounds. Remember, I regained 20. I am up to 30 pounds of regain lost. Okay, 30 pounds.
Wow.
So I went from 170 to 140.
Fantastic.
And I'm still dropping. So I didn't want to leave you hanging thinking that I just lost 10 pounds and that was it. It's going. My body is going to settle where it wants. But I just wanted to add that in real quick before we wrap up.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Alison. And so you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it live here. Alison has agreed to be on this podcast on a regular basis and basically becoming the podcast partner I was looking for, because it's better to be able to rant and chat with somebody than just, being alone on a podcast. But I think that basically we found the hole in the market, because I have done so much research into the podcast world. If there's anybody out there that has addressed weight regain after bariatric surgery, and guess what? I'm the first one. We are the first ones. You wrote the book. I got the podcast. So guess what? They are now partnered together. So thank you so much, Alison. And Alison will be back. We're going to be sharing more questions. We're going to be producing lots of podcasts between now and December. If you join her Facebook group, and if you have a question, leave it there, and then we can also address those questions live in the podcast as well. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and expertise on this very, very important topic. And for listeners, if you've undergone bariatric weight and you're struggling with weight regain, Alison's book, The Regain Remedy, is available on Amazon. It's available in book form and Kindle form. I have both. And offers incredible, valuable insights on using intermittent fasting as a permanent solution. Permanent. That's really key. There's also the Facebook group, what we mentioned, called The Regain Remedy. So check out the book, the Facebook group, and start your journey towards lasting health. So until next time, stay committed to your wellness, and we will see you very soon. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for listening in. And thank you so much, Alison, for coming by as well.
Thank you for having me, Wendy. I had a blast.
Yeah, it was a blast. Thank you so much. And we will see you next time.